Ada for considering divorce after my husband left our toddler and our teen daughter, while to be with another woman. I've been married to my husband for 19 years. Nearly 2 full decades of building a life together, weathering storms, celebrating joys, and carving out a family we had to fight hard for. Our journey into parenthood was long and painful. Years of fertility treatments, hopes raised and dashed, prayers whispered in sterile clinic rooms. Through all of it, my husband was there. He was steady when I crumbled. He held me together when I thought I'd fall apart. That's why I keep staring at the ceiling these days, wondering how we even got here. How he became the person who would leave our babies home alone and lie to my face about it. We have 3 kids now. Our eldest is 13, wise beyond her years and tender-hearted in a way that breaks me sometimes. Our second is a rambunctious little 2-year-old boy, always into something. And the third, our newborn daughter, is barely out of the 4th trimester. She's still feeding through the night, still settling into this world. I love them so much it hurts. A couple days ago, I decided to take a me day. It had been so long since I'd done anything for myself. I was burnt out, mentally, emotionally, physically. My mom and sister insisted I needed it, so I finally agreed. I told my husband, and he said he'd stay home with the kids. We didn't have a sitter and didn't want to call anyone last minute, but he assured me he had it under control. I left at around 1 p.m. My mom, sister, and I went out to lunch, did a little shopping, got our nails done. It was light, fun, something I haven't felt in forever. For a moment, I felt human again. Not just mom, not just wife, but me. At around 5:50 p.m., I got a Ring camera alert. There was some movement at the front door. I checked it and saw my husband leaving. I called him, and he casually said he'd just stepped out to pick up some pizza. I didn't think much of it. I assumed, naturally, that he had the kids with him or had arranged for someone to be with them for the 5 or 10 minutes he'd be gone. I mean, who wouldn't? Around 6 p.m., another Ring notification popped up. He was back. I figured everything was fine and continued on. The nail salon ran late and traffic was a mess, so I didn't make it home until just past 8 p.m. When I pulled into the driveway, I immediately noticed something was off. His car wasn't there. I walked into the house, and I swear I felt my heart crack open. The toddler was sitting on the floor covered in dried spit and something sticky I couldn't identify. The newborn was screaming in her crib, her tiny fists flailing in the air, face red from crying too long. And then I saw my 13-year-old, my baby, pacing, tears rolling down her cheeks, clearly overwhelmed and terrified. She was trying her best, bouncing between the toddler and the newborn, but she was falling apart. I froze. I wanted to scream, cry, run, something, but I had to hold it together. I asked her how long Daddy had been gone. She said he left right after I called, around 6. That means he had been gone for over 2 hours, leaving all 3 kids completely unattended. A teenager should never have to carry that weight. And a baby, anything could have happened. I was shaking when he finally came home. He smelled off. Not like pizza. Like expensive cologne. There was lipstick on his collar, faint but visible. I didn't even ask. I didn't need to. His face said enough. I didn't yell. I didn't explode. I didn't collapse, though God knows I wanted to. I just walked away. Later that night, I overheard him on the phone with his parents. Apparently, they think it was a mild mistake. They think I'm overreacting. That I should understand he just needed a break too. A break? A break. When I can't even pee in peace, without someone crying. When I haven't had a full night's sleep in months. When I'm the one constantly making sure this house doesn't fall apart. I've given my life to this marriage. My time. My love. My body, 3 births, 2 traumatic, 1 still healing. And this man, who once held my hand through failed IVF attempts, just disappeared without telling me, without leaving anyone with the kids, and possibly went on a date? I've spent the last 2 nights on the couch, my newborn in my arms, rocking her to sleep, while trying not to break apart. He keeps trying to talk to me, texting, calling from the other room even. He keeps saying I'm making this bigger than it is, that I'm reading into things. But the thing is, I don't think I am. I think I'm finally seeing it clearly. And now I'm left wondering, is this the moment I finally stop trying to fix what's broken? Is this where the story changes? After I got the baby down to sleep, I quietly closed her door and walked into the living room, where my 13-year-old daughter sat hunched over, her face blotchy and streaked with dried tears. She looked up at me, and my heart cracked open. She didn't even need to say anything. I could already feel the weight of what she'd been through while I was gone. I sat down beside her and gently asked what happened. Her voice trembled as she said, "He just told me to watch them for a while. He said he had something important to do and left." That was it. No warning. No timeline. No explanation. He just left our teenager, who should have been doing homework or scrolling through her phone like any other kid her age, to take care of a newborn and a toddler, both of whom were already melting down by the time I walked in. She tried so hard to be brave, and I told her how proud I was of her. But it broke me inside to see how shaken she was. No child should be put in that situation. It wasn't just irresponsible, it was cruel. Then, around 10 p.m., the front door swung open and in walked my husband, smelling like alcohol, smiling, acting like everything was just perfectly normal. I asked him directly, "Where were you?" He smirked and said, "I was with my wife, having a good time."
My jaw dropped.
What kind of response is that? Was he mocking me? Testing me? I didn't even get the chance to reply. He started undressing right there, peeling off his pants like it was just another Tuesday. He wasn't even trying to hide the disrespect anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the couch with the baby monitor in my lap, scrolling through my thoughts like a broken record. Who is this man? How did we get here? 19 years. We built a whole life together, went through fertility hell, mourned losses, celebrated milestones, and finally got the family we so desperately wanted. And now, here I am, left feeling like a fool, like the last to know just how far things had fallen apart. The next morning, I confronted him again. I wanted answers. I wanted some kind of remorse, some acknowledgement that what he did was dangerous and wrong. But instead, he gave me another lie. He said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. I told him flat out, "I know you didn't. I saw the ring footage. I have timestamps. I saw you leave and come back." Still, he refused to admit it. He mumbled something about getting pizza, then something about losing track of time, then something else about traffic. Excuse after excuse. His story kept changing every time I pressed him. I was furious, not just because he was lying, but because he was lying so badly. He wasn't even trying to cover it up anymore. Like he thought I was too stupid or too scared to challenge him. I couldn't take it anymore. I called my mom first. She listened as always, without jumping in. Then I called his mom, hoping maybe she would knock some sense into him. But her response? "It's a common mistake. Men do that. Don't overreact. Just let it go, for the kids. They need their father." I wanted to scream. If it was just a common mistake, then what isn't acceptable anymore? Leaving a 13-year-old in charge of a toddler and a baby while he possibly goes out on a date with another woman? Getting drunk and walking back in like it was nothing? Laughing when I confronted him? I've been spiraling since that night, flipping between anger and heartbreak, calm and rage. I want to believe in the vows we made. I want to remember the man who held my hand during our IVF treatments, who stayed up all night when our first child was born, who cried tears of joy when he heard that tiny heartbeat after years of disappointment. But that man feels like a ghost now. The one standing in front of me today is selfish, reckless, dishonest. And he's hurting not just me, but our children. I've been thinking about divorce more seriously than I ever thought I would. I think about full custody, about child support, about building a life that feels safe again. I think about the kind of role model he's become for our son, and the kind of expectations our daughters might grow up to accept if I don't draw a line. And still, that little voice in my head keeps whispering, "Are you sure? What if it's just a rough patch? What if you regret leaving?" But I'm tired. I'm exhausted from carrying this entire family on my back while he checks out and gaslights me. I'm tired of being told to be grateful he's still around. I want more. I want better. I want stability and honesty and safety for me and especially for my kids. I finally got him to sit down and watch the ring video. The truth playing out on screen. Undeniable. He watched it quietly. Then came the excuses. "It's not what it looks like. You're overreacting." I didn't think it was a big deal. Not once did he say sorry. Not once did he take full accountability. Just more lies dressed as justifications. So here I am, still heartbroken, still furious, but a little bit clearer. Maybe I'm not the crazy one. Maybe I'm not overreacting. Maybe I've just reached the point where I finally know my worth. After everything that happened that night, I couldn't just move on. My husband and I went back and forth for a few more days, arguing, avoiding, circling around the truth like it was some kind of landmine. I was determined to get answers. I needed clarity. Not just for me, but for our kids. So I finally got him to sit down and watch the video from our Ring camera. The one that had been burning a hole in my heart since the moment I saw it. And there it was, clear as day. Proof that he'd lied. That he wasn't just picking up pizza, like he said. Proof that he left our babies alone. Proof that he wasn't where he claimed to be. He watched the footage without much reaction, like it wasn't even him on the screen. And then, instead of taking responsibility, he started tossing out excuse after excuse. He kept scrambling for some way to make it seem smaller, less serious, like it wasn't what it so obviously was. I told him, plain and direct, if this marriage ends, it won't be because I gave up. It'll be because of what you did that night. I had given him my trust, my commitment, my love, and he broke it. I asked him the questions that had been circling in my mind like a storm. Why did you leave our daughter to watch her two baby siblings? Where did you go? Who is this second wife you mentioned when you stumbled and drunk like nothing had happened? He rolled his eyes and told me I was overreacting, that I was being too emotional and dramatic, and that my lack of trust was the real problem.
And that
Hit me like a punch to the gut. Trust? I told him, you shattered that the moment you walked out that door, without a second thought about the kids. You don't get to demand trust when you're the one who broke it. I gave him a choice, one honest chance to come clean and explain. I wasn't even asking him to fix it, just to tell the truth.
but no.
He stuck to his story. I didn't do anything. At that point, I was done playing games. I said, why can't you just be honest with me? He fired back. Why do you think I was cheating? That's not trusting me. And I reminded him of what he said the night he came home. I was with my wife. That was his own voice, his own words, coming out of his own mouth. There was no way around it. He tried to brush it off. I was drunk, he said. I told him, you don't get drunk while you're responsible for 3 children. You don't disappear and leave your kids, our kids, in the care of a 13-year-old who is clearly overwhelmed and scared. And you sure as hell don't lie about it. That night, our toddler had been playing with spit and the baby was screaming in distress while our daughter cried because she didn't know what else to do. That is not normal. That is not okay.
He said sorry.
But it was empty. A hollow, routine apology that felt like a wet napkin slapped over a gaping wound. I told him, you've hurt your daughter's trust. You've damaged our family. And you've put our babies at risk. And now you're sitting here acting like it's no big deal. Still, he clung to this false narrative, one where he hadn't done anything wrong, where I was just an angry wife looking to fight. It made me feel insane, like I was living in a warped version of our life, where nothing I saw or felt mattered. On April 17th, he told me I was being irrational, that I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and that we needed to keep our family together, for the kids. Let's just forget about this and move on, he said. And I told him no. We can't move on from something you won't even admit to. You lied, you endangered our kids, you betrayed me, and now you want to sweep it under the rug? For what? Your comfort? Then he got defensive, angry even. He claimed there was a reason for everything, but when I asked what the reason was, he clammed up. He had nothing. No explanation. Just more walls and more silence. 2 days later, on April 19th, he finally told me the truth, or at least part of it. He admitted that he had been seeing another woman. Not just seeing her, calling her his second wife. My heart dropped. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. I had suspected it, feared it, but hearing him say the words out loud was something else entirely. And then he had the nerve to say, if you can't accept that, then there's no point in trying to save this marriage. You've been the only one trying anyway. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't something we could patch up with therapy or space. This was abandonment. This was betrayal. And it wasn't just a betrayal of me. It was a betrayal of our children, our home, everything we built together. I told him if our kids grow up in a broken home, it'll be his doing. That he will be the one who forced them into chaos because he couldn't keep his promises, couldn't tell the truth, and couldn't put their needs before his selfish desires. I told him he would be the reason they grow up without a dad in the house, not me. Because I stayed. I fought. I loved. And he threw it all away for whatever this second life is that he thinks is worth more than what we had. He even lied to our daughter about her phone, tried to cover his tracks, tried to turn the blame on me. After everything, he still tried to make me feel like the crazy one. Like I was the liar. Like I was the reason we were falling apart. But I see the truth now.
Clear as day.
I'm not the one who left. I'm not the one who lied. I'm not the one who betrayed this family. I'm the one trying to hold it together. For my kids. For myself. And I'm realizing, maybe it's time to stop holding on to someone who's already let go.